So, say your name, where you're from, and who you work for.
My name is Fermín Torrano. I am a Spanish journalist and also a Spanish coordinator for this project.
When was it for you when you discovered Ukraine for the first time?
I came as a tourist in 2018. I came to Kyiv first and I thought, okay, this is the most beautiful city I've been in my life because it was full of snow, all the different colors of the buildings, the golden roofs and everything. And I was like, oh, I want to come here to live, But then I was already at that time thinking to come here to work. And I spent almost 1 month and a half in Donbass, moving around in buses and with one bag and sleeping in people's houses in Mariupol, in Avdiivka. So I discovered not only the places, but I will say the people. So many Ukrainians at that time treat me very, very well. So, somehow, when you are connected with the people, you want to come back.
Hello and welcome to the 20th episode of the Covering Ukraine podcast. My name is Antonina Rybka, and I'm your host for this episode, which will be the last one for a little while. As you can probably hear from my accent, I'm Ukrainian. I was a child during the Orange Revolution in 2004, but I still have some memories from that time. I can remember the Revolution of Dignity in 2014 very vividly. And I have a clear recollection of Russia's subsequent annexation of Crimea, along with its occupation of eastern parts of my country. And then, 8 years later, came Russia's full-scale invasion. Memories of the first days of the attack still hurt deeply. Today I live in Berlin, but I keep close ties with Ukraine and travel back home regularly. Every time I return, I find myself reflecting on the past and comparing it with what I see now, and I'm constantly struck by the changes and the new developments on so many levels. That's the question we will be answering through this episode. How much has Ukraine changed in recent years, especially in the last decade? We will talk to people who have never been to Ukraine, and to those who've been many times. We will hear from people who never left, and those who went away and came back. We will talk about things that never seem to change, and things that might be different in the future. And not only for Ukraine, but also for other countries and institutions this conflict had impacted. Before we dive into all of that, let's grab something sweet to eat.
Are you buying something?
Yeah, I'm having a famous eclair.
Which one?
Wild strawberry. Hot strawberry. The one that they pick with their hands, then they have sent by train.
Meet Andrea, the editor of the European section of the Italian weekly newspaper Internazionale.
Why did you decide to buy it?
Because the story he told was really interesting, because I like eclair, because I like the fact that they work with small, not even growers, because this stuff is picked. So, and picked fruit from the mountains. And I think I love eclair. It's as simple as that.
What was the story behind this one eclair?
He told that they have people from a village next to a forest working and picking the berries and sending them by train.
I think actually I know, from Carpathians. If you go to Carpathian Mountains in Ukraine, in the western part, you can see lots of babushkas.
I was there. I was in Mukhachevo, and it was actually the first time I came to Ukraine. We came by train, and we visited Lviv, then we went to Kyiv, then we went to Odessa. Yeah, it was actually my bachelor's degree trip.
Well, how many times you've been to Ukraine during these 3 years of full safe?
No, never. This is the first time. This is the first time I came since 2016.
Wow. What's different do you see from 2016?
Well, I came after Maidan, so a lot of the transformations that you see today, almost finished. I wouldn't say maybe finished, but at some certain point of development, they were starting already. Building up a new national identity, the fact that a civil society, and now I coming here and speaking to people and going around the city, you have the impression that this change has been developing and going on, and changing the whole texture of society.
Some may not notice these changes as they are here for the first time, such as Serena from Rome, Angel from Sofia, and Elena from Brussels.
And you came here to Ukraine for the first time. Why did you decide to go here? What is so interesting?
The program, it was so interesting, and I was curious to know much more about the Ukrainian culture and also how people dealing with full-scale invasion, even if Kyiv is like more safe than other areas like occupied territories, but I am curious to know more about it.
Well, first of all, the program is indeed very interesting. Secondly, you have timing. It's incredible to be here right now, just short ahead of the 3-year anniversary from Russia's full-scale invasion, but also because Eastern Europe, including Ukraine, is within my portfolio. But since war began, I haven't had the chance to travel and to come here. And it's fair to both me and readers to really see at least a bit with my own eyes how the country is during the war.
What kind of perception do you have about Ukraine now?
Well, I suppose my working assumption is that if we haven't changed our perceptions by the time we are over, we will be stupid because, of course, interacting with the place physically changes your perceptions. It's normal. I would, however, like to already draw a comparison because in 2022, I was in Taiwan and there is a similarity I can see. Something, conflict, tension, latent, worry. 3 years on, there's this same sense of semi-normalcy because life has to go on and things have to happen the usual way because people get tired and then they can't live all their lives in a war. And you have this tension bubbling beneath the surface.
Definitely, I think after a week hearing from experts and first-hand experiences of Ukrainians, it will only be normal to change a perspective that is pretty much shaped by the media and what we have been reading in Western Europe about what is happening here. So it's an opportunity to be able to hear from Ukrainians what is happening in Ukraine.
To understand the present, it helps to understand the past. As we spoke with Angel and Elena, we were on our way to hear the insights from one of Ukraine's most prominent public intellectuals and an expert in long-term strategies, Yevhen Hlibovitsky, whom you might remember from episode 12 of this podcast. Back then, he shared how the Revolution of Dignity in 2014 shaped Ukraine's current sense of agency. This time, he will tell us about a critical factor you need to understand about Ukraine's past and present. It's trauma.
The parents wouldn't tell their kids the experiences that they went through because they deemed it too risky for them. For instance, those who survived the famine would never tell their kids what they went through. Because if the kids told someone, KGB would be after that. They would be persecuted. But what they would do, they would modify the behavior. For instance, a lot of Ukrainians would be disproportionately punished for not finishing the plate. And this would be the kind of cultural reaction to the past experience. So what happened basically, historical memory in Ukraine has lost its depth. And basically after regaining independence, the memory began to restore. So basically this totalitarian trauma forces the citizen to stay as far from the state as possible. And what happened, instead of using the opportunity to make the state accountable to the society, the Ukrainians in the early 90s didn't reset these relations because from their point of view, it was just the change of the title. Everything stays the same, just the title has changed because the same people are in power, because the same concepts continue. So nothing has really changed. Whereas the liberation movement was growing and it reached its critical mass during Maidan in 2014. We call it Revolution of Dignity or Euromaidan. And that's exactly when the Russians realized that they lost Ukraine. And that's exactly when they decided that they are going for it and they annexed Crimea and they started war in Donbass, which is our independence war. If we're talking in colonial terms, this is the independence war that Ukraine's having right now.
This war for independence has been with us for over 10 years, which is almost a third of Ukraine's age as a state and nearly a third of my lifetime. From the international headlines, it may seem like the news fades from the front page. Sometimes it might even look like it's no longer a big story, but it remains crucial for Europe. Even now, Kyiv might seem peaceful at times or during the day, but one night during our journalist stay, Russia launched a massive attack on Ukraine's capital. Ironically, on that same morning, our group was scheduled to visit places that had been destroyed by a Russian attack several months ago, including Akhmedit Hospital. This is a multidisciplinary diagnostic and treatment facility in Kyiv that provides specialized, highly qualified medical care to children. It was bombarded by the Russians. On that day of the attack on Kyiv, July 8th, Russia killed 33 people. Ukrainian journalist Hristina Berdinsky went to one of the sites, Akhmedit, and shared her experience covering it as a journalist.
Air raid began at 9:50 in the morning. It means that hospital already worked, yes. I was in 15 minutes from here because I had a meeting and I went on the street just with my coffee and this huge rocket attack began. And I just found first car parking and hide there. But when I checked the news and I understood that this hospital was hit, for me it was a huge shock because it's the main hospital and I understood how important they worked during the war also. I wasn't sure is it safety or not, but I decided that much more important to cover this story because it's something, you know, I covered so many stories during last 3 years, but Kids Hospital is something unfortunately was new for us. And the picture was absolutely nightmare. Kids, parents, doctors, and this building was absolutely destroyed. As you see, it was like direct heat. First person which I spoke was a woman with two girls, two daughters, one 10 years old and another 3 years old. And they stayed near, they destroyed absolutely car. And this 10 years girl, she recorded a video of these glasses. Her mother walked right, and I very carefully asked her. I write an article to Italian newspaper, and it's very important to tell the truth to the world. Can you tell me a few words? And this woman answered me that we just came from Italy because now we live in Italy, in Como. We escaped from the war and we came to Akhmedit because this her daughter, 3 years old, she has a very rare disease and only Akhmedit she can be treated.
Every day Russia's war against Ukraine terrorizes civilians, leaving deep scars and wounds in society. This builds up more of the trauma that Yevhen Hlibovitsky spoke about. But it's not only Ukraine that's changing in these times. The European Union is also evolving because of this war. Just compare how the EU reacted in 2014 to how it's responding now. The EU remains a strong partner and is continuously deepening its connection with Ukraine. On our way to the next location, we caught up with Alicia, the editor-in-chief of the international desk at El Confidencial, one of Spain's leading media outlets.
Does it explain to you something that you've experienced here and is different from where you're from?
So something very interesting that was told us today is how Ukrainian identity is changing so much and so fast because of all the leverage of the trauma. But the point is like they were never really reaching that state of we are a country, as a state, and now is the moment. No, so it's very interesting. Also puts a lot of pressure on Ukraine. We know already, no, because this is not a war of losing territories. This is not a war of losing resources. This is a war of existence or not, no? Because for the Ukrainians, and I see it when I talk to the people, is there is no option of losing, because if they lose, it's again another generation, or maybe 2 generations, 3 generations of losing their state or their identity, because we already know what it was Russia doing in the occupied territories, and also we know the aspirations of Putin, because he himself has told us about how he wants to erase all the Ukrainians. So that was very interesting. It made me think a lot, because, of course, I will look forward for Ukraine to become closer to the European Union, because I also think that was war for Russia, for Putin's Russia, was more dangerous. It wasn't the NATO. It was the Ukrainian look forward European Union. What it was more dangerous for the Russian itself, because if you have in Russia a society that's oligarchy, it's poor, it's only rich because you have a lot of money from the oil and gas, and it's only focused on St. Petersburg and Moscow, but suddenly you see somebody who you believe that is like your little sister, that was Ukrainians, and then you see the Ukrainians maybe becoming prosperous in a different way, like more close to European Union. That is more dangerous, because the Russian could ask themselves why we don't have that. So I really thought that this integration with European Union was so important. And this new idea of how the sociology of Ukrainian people might clash a bit with European Union had made me think about how to adapt it.
Another person who questions how the European Union should adapt to Ukraine's new reality is the co-founder and co-owner of a luxury pastry restaurant in Kyiv. Meet Stanislav Zavertailo, who is the descendant of survivors of the Holodomor. This makes his choice to open a high-end patisserie even more remarkable. He was running a successful business, but in February 2022, because of the full-scale invasion, he had to shut its doors. However, just a month later, in March, he started baking again.
And we opened our bakery on Podil. It was March, and I had the call from police, and they told me, Stas, we want to drink coffee. Please open the shop. I told him, why, you are crazy, you know? No, Stas, please open. And when I returned to the Kyiv and come to this shop, I was scared, because I think I will be killed, because it was like one row of people, and I can't open the door. And it was full of men from the army, from different divisions, and like the point for all soldiers, police, and they all go to the shop to drink the coffee and eat croissant and burger. And it was only one opportunity in Kyiv to eat something, yeah?
These days, Stanislav provides financial support to the Ukrainian army. He says he has no other choice and believes Europe does not either.
If Russia will be here, I will be dead. Or my family go to like it was before, in 13th, when all these people, they catch it and sent to the Siberia. I think that we will win, because if we will die, you will be the next. And you must prepare for the army, not me. Because I am already prepared. And for you is the question.
This brings us back to the question we raised earlier. Why should we return? To explore this, we spoke with Timofey Brik, a Ukrainian sociologist and director of the Kyiv School of Economics. Why should foreign journalists come back to Ukraine?
Sure, I mean, the information is the key. So I encourage anyone from international media, European media specifically, to come to Ukraine and investigate, because this is the only way they can learn and inform their public. And second, the European Union now spends a lot of money on Ukraine. They spend money to support Ukraine in terms of humanitarian aid, military aid. And if you want to know how your money is spent, you must be here to verify it, to double check, and also to understand the connection between Ukraine and European Union, because I think this war affects everyone equally. But also, I think it's important to share our experience, because Ukraine now goes through a lot of experiments, something that European Union maybe new generations have never experienced. You know, how to work with misinformation, how to operate your economy during the war, how to be resilient during the war. This is a unique experience, and I think this experience can strengthen European Union. We have a lot of experts who come here from Poland, from Sweden, from UK just to learn, so they can improve their own economy and society. And I think Ukrainians should provide this experience because it is added value to our partners.
There is one more perspective on returning. Remember Fermin from the start of this episode? He mentioned he was thinking about moving here. Well, he's actually been coming to Ukraine regularly since 2021. We wanted to understand what keeps drawing him back again and again.
Maybe two things that comes to my mind. One, knowing Ukraine before the full-scale invasion. Because if you know the Ukraine, or you came to Ukraine before, probably you will have better sources, better people you can talk with, and also you will understand how the mood and people change. Because many people I know, and it's not their mistake, but their first time was in 2022, so they discovered a country with a curfew, with people at the beginning that they were not trusting foreigners, so they don't have the real picture from my point of view. And this is one. And the second, probably at this time, like 3 years after the beginning of the full-scale invasion, that they are not coming so much. So when they come here, they normally come with the idea already made in their head what article they want. And this is good because you are working for media, but at the same time, you don't have the time to discover the reality, to have time to talk with people, to find new articles, new ideas, new focus. I could make other projects, but I mean, when you are out of time in Ukraine or in the front, you cannot go back at home and say, okay, it's normal, I can do my normal life, at least with me. So now I've been 2 months outside Ukraine, and I was feeling I'm not doing enough for my job. So I don't know why I came back. My question will be, why not to come back? Yeah.
Thank you for listening to this episode. As mentioned, this is our last episode for now, and we hope you enjoyed it. If you have any feedback, please let us know and write to eud@n-ost.org. This episode was recorded in February 2025 in Kyiv by Evgenia Soboleva, a freelance producer for foreign media in Ukraine. You have heard her voice asking questions from time to time. It was written together with Daniel Bilik, who also edited, sound designed, and mixed this episode. Proofreading was by Michael Bird. The views expressed by the individuals are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the organizations they work for, nor those of n-ost or the European Commission, who funded this project. The podcast covering Ukraine was created as part of the Europe-Ukraine Desk program, which aims to build bridges between journalists from the EU and Ukraine. Thank you once again for listening. Take care.